we're like a really weird couple. We knew like so strongly like going in to where we just had like the confidence to like move forward in everything, work through like hard conversations. Yeah, it was really strong like from the beginning, and that's why it like continues to work. She liked my profile, right? So we were on there and then she just liked it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll reach out. And I said, like, just, hey, how are you? We talked back and forth a little bit. I mean, from my experience, Bree was pretty like shut off, like at first. Decided to put my whole self out there and say, like, hey, let's, talk off this app and get to know one another more. Like, here's my number. And I didn't hear back for like a whole week. I put myself out there and didn't really hear back. So I decided to message out again, just put myself out there and say like, hey, is everything all right? Like, and she's like, oh yeah, just, connecting with other people is really hard right now because it was in the middle of COVID, so a lot of things were getting shut down and people weren't meeting. And she's just like, I'm just having a hard time connecting with others. And I was like, oh yeah, I can totally understand that. I just didn't want to be left hanging. So yeah, just let me know if you want to get to know one another. I gave you my number, so we can definitely chat. And I think it was like a couple hours later, like, I was in a virtual Bible study, and I saw this number I never seen before pop up on my screen, and I was like, I don't know who that is, and I just kind of let it like slide, and then it came up again, like she called me directly again, and I was like, oh man, I gave someone my number today, I just forgot. So like I picked it up in the middle of the Bible study, and I was like, hey, like, it's Josiah, like, how are you, and she's like, hey, are you busy? And I kind of look at my computer that still had like a whole virtual like chat going. I was like, no, I'm not busy at all, like, how are you? Let's chat. And I totally just missed the whole like last part of the Bible study. And she's like, I only got like 20 minutes to like, to talk right now. I'm like having roommate night. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so we just chatted for 20 minutes. And after the end of the 20 minutes, she was like, yeah, do you want to talk tomorrow? I guess I'm like, oh yeah, like that's fine, that'll be great and everything. So I was like, yeah, she gave me another chance, and it was pretty much smooth sailing from there, like just talking every night. And then after about like 4 days, she wanted to meet up. So we met up at Belle Isle in Detroit, and we met each other in person, like almost not even a week after we started really talking on the phone. And we just felt really comfortable with each other, like we were like really good friends already that were just meeting together again. And we just pursued a relationship from there.
Why'd you leave him
Yeah.
hanging for a week?
I don't know. I guess there was nothing in the conversation that was really like drawing me in. And it's hard when I don't know I already am a terrible texter as is, like even if I know
Me
you,
too.
but especially if I don't have a relationship with you, it's kind of
Mhm.
hard to like keep the conversation going. But then I think just him like reaching back out and being like, hey, it's actually not really okay or cool that you just left me hanging like that. Because I feel like in our minds, we're like, oh, it's a virtual thing. Like you're not obligated to respond back. But it's like, well,
Mhm.
it's still a person. They still invested time into the conversation with you. And I was kind of like, yeah, he's actually right. Like
Mhm.
I should respond to him and tell him what's up.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, after we actually started talking, like I was totally in it. Like I really liked him. I already told all my friends, like, yeah, I really like this person, even after before I met him. So I'm like, I need to meet him as soon as possible because like I don't want to waste any more nights like staying up super late talking if this isn't gonna work out in person. So like we met shortly after, like you said, and
Mhm.
like we both were really certain that it was gonna work out pretty soon after meeting.
Mhm. When you're first getting to know one another, you don't know what question is like too much or like just enough. So we created like, okay, like these kind of questions are like level one questions, and then level two, and then level three is like, super hard. Like don't go there. Like it's just too deep, right now. There was this one time where she said like, tell me like one thing that you like thought this week, and then tell me one thing that you're like thinking like right now. And her right now was like, I'm thinking about like meeting you, like let's meet up, I'm like, okay, yeah, we could totally schedule a day like to meet, like this week. And she's like, cool, how about tomorrow? And in my mind, I was like, kind of like, I don't know about tomorrow. Like tomorrow's like really soon, right? So I was like, oh yeah, like just text me tomorrow and we can figure something out for the week. And she's like, okay, fine. The next day, it was like 11 o'clock, and she texted me and was like, hey, I'm about to be done with everything like that I need to do for my work day. Like, do you want to meet up? I'm like, oh yeah, that would be great. Like, when do you think? She's like, I'm thinking like 1 o'clock, and I'm like, whoa, 2 hours notice. Like, what's going on? So yeah, she gave me 2 hours notice, like get ready, and then like meet her at Belle Isle, and that's what we did. We spent 4 hours just walking around, and we talked, and it was just a really good day. So it was special knowing that like wow, that was the day like I met the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Like that's just nuts how it like all just like kind of unfolded and happened very quickly. We weren't like totally like communicating right away, like, hey, we're gonna get married. Like we kind of like kept it under like wraps, but like we pretty much knew in our hearts, like, I think this person is very special.
Oh,
And
I'll tell her the journal
oh
thing.
yeah, tell her the journal thing.
So, um, the day after we met, he had messaged me and was like, "Hey, like I'm just running errands. Is there anything you need while I'm going out?" And I'm like, oh, really trying to think, like, gosh, there actually isn't anything, but I want to see him. So, like, there's got to be something that I need.
Hmm.
So, I had just finished the last page in my journal that day. And I was like, well, I actually need another journal because I journal every day. He's like, okay, yeah. So he went on this wild hunt of like finding all these different
Yeah,
types of
well, you
journals.
can't find anything in like the midst of COVID. Like everything was just like shut down. So Barnes and Noble was shut down, like everything. I ended up having to go to like this discount bargain mart and like finding like these like really crappy cheap journals. And then like I just like spread them out all in my hand. I took a picture of them, like, which one do you want? Um,
Yeah, so he had brought over like five different options of journals.
I
Like
didn't know
he
which one she wanted.
when he came over, and this was
Hmm.
his first time coming over to my house, and then I was like, oh, I really like these two red matching journals. Like I think they're really cool. I'd like these. And he's like, well, what if I keep one and you keep another one of them? And I was like,
Hmm.
okay. And he's like, and maybe we can just like journal throughout us getting to know each other and kind of save some of more of those like level three kind of thoughts and feelings about each other. And maybe we can give them to each other later in our relationship. So we've actually been writing in those journals throughout this whole past year. And we
Hmm.
actually plan to like write our vows in those journals and then read them on our wedding day.
So when did you start dating? Like, how did it progress? Were you guys seeing each other during lockdowns, or were you just, talking on the phone?
Oh yeah, we didn't. We were
Mhm.
like, the lockdowns can't stop what's happening right now. So yeah, I gave her the journals about like a day or two after we met in person, and then we just really wanted to see each other. Like, so we planned out days like get together. I remember like, we would take like hikes and walks like just around because there was nothing, we couldn't go out to eat or anything, so we really just enjoyed like walking and taking hikes. And she met my family like maybe a week after we were just talking and seeing each other, which went really well. And she really liked my mom and all this stuff. And then about maybe a week after that, I we both drove down like to her parents' house, and I like, met her entire family in that day
Yeah, I
because
have
they
a
were
big
very
family.
close. So like about 2 weeks after we saw each other in person is when we decided like to make it official and to be in a relationship and to pursue it. So that's just how that got going. Like that was when we first shared our first kiss and everything. I didn't want to like I made it clear like I don't want to kiss anyone until I'm ready to be in a relationship with them. And so we shared our first kiss that day that we decided to move forward. And I mean, we were pretty much talking very seriously to one another for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like a month, and we were just like, is this headed towards marriage? And we're both like, yeah, it really is. So we were
Mm-hmm.
pretty much like engaged to be engaged. Like at that point, we were just like, we knew what we wanted, and we were just like striving for it. We're like a really weird couple. It's like we knew like so strongly like going in,
Mm-hmm.
to where we just had like the confidence to like move forward in everything, work through like hard conversations and decisions together.
Mm-hmm.
Her having like a therapy background and me having a ministry background, really knew how to communicate with one another and our thoughts, our feelings, and what we were feeling in the Lord. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it was really strong like from the beginning, and that's why
Yeah.
it like continues to work.